Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. I see, first of all, thank you so much for this tier 1 subscription, Chiro El Rey. I appreciate that. I see you. Hold on, let me pause this over here. Okay. Thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription. Gotta let my channel points recharge a little bit, so no dabs today. I don't know, Mammy seems to have you covered here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dabs, which is a-okay by me. Yeah, we got 5 dabs. That's fine. But I do appreciate the support, Chiro El Rey. Thank you so much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we got 6 dabs. Okay, so we'll do 3 on each since it's an even number. Yeah, you gotta make it an even number. That's right, so we can do, Hey, William Franch. Yeah, it's a dab stream. Well, it's dab mornings, right? We got the dab-a-lattes in the morning, and that's how we start. That's how we start the stream usually. Alright, so... Hey, morning. Got 1, 2... We got 3. And then we switch sides. 1... 2 and gotta make sure that last one is really good, right? Sorry for the slight delay there this morning. I was trying to get some coffee. I think the 5th one was the best dab. Okay, we got the 5th one was the best dab. Okay. One of these days, I'm gonna start making polls on the dabs. Just, I'm gonna make a channel point called rate this dab. Okay. All right, folks. We do have a couple of headlines to go through. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. Alright, so I think that we should start with this one. I believe this one was put by KTS Shine. So I think that we're gonna start with this. And it goes to show another proof of concept that actually works in an attempt to solve homelessness, and why giving the people the tools that they need is, first of all, cheaper, and second of all, incredibly effective. Hey, Alio, how's it going? Thank you so much for the 11 biddies. I appreciate that. I see you. Make sure you all follow AlioShare, twitch.tv/AlioShare. Let's start here, yeah?
Canada did an interesting study. They call it the New Leaf Project. And the idea was, hey, what would happen if we give homeless people $7,500? What would happen if you give people without homes, people who are living in extreme poverty, more money? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What's going to happen? Now, I mean, I'm willing to guess it'd be a good thing because poor people are lacking money. So if you give them money, it probably helps in a variety of different ways. So, let me tell you, this is in Vox here. This is some of what they say. The study conducted by the Charity Foundations for Social Change in partnership with the University of British Columbia was fairly simple. It identified 50 people in the Vancouver area who had become homeless in the past 2 years. In spring 2018, it gave them each one lump sum of $7,500 in Canadian dollars, and it told them to do whatever they wanted with the cash. At first, I thought it was a little far-fetched, too good to be true, Ray said. I went with one of the program representatives to a bank, and we opened up a bank account for me. Even after the money was there, it took me a week for it to sink in. Over the next year, the study followed up with the recipients periodically, asking how they were spending the money and what was happening in their lives. Because they were participating in a randomized, controlled trial, their outcomes were compared to those of a control group, 65 homeless people who didn't receive any cash. Both cash recipients and people in the control group got access to workshops and coaching focused on developing life skills and plans. The results? The people who received cash transfers moved into stable housing faster and saved enough money to maintain financial security over the year of follow-up. They decreased spending on drugs, tobacco, and alcohol by 39% on average and increased spending on food, clothes, and rent, according to self-reports.
Wow.
That's amazing. Now, we have more information on it. Giving out the cash transfers in the Vancouver area actually saved broader society money. Enabling 50 people to move into housing faster saved the shelter system $8,100 per person over the year for total savings of $405,000. That's more than the value of the cash transfers, which means the transfers pay for themselves. This is like another study we discussed on the show. It saves taxpayers money if you just put a roof over homeless people's heads.
Huh. Wow. Amazing. It's almost like the stuff that we've been talking about for, what, at this point in this channel, years? This channel is 2 years since the beginning of this channel. There have been numerous times where I've discussed that it's just cheaper. It's just cheaper to solve homelessness. It's just more economic and the right thing to do. Wow, amazing. It's like every single pilot program after pilot program continues to prove this. Hey, how's it going?
If you give them one of those little, those like micro houses, that actually saves money in the long run to the taxpayer, even if the taxpayer pays for that house up front. Because, the homeless folks end up using a lot more government resources when they're not housed. And so we're learning more here. Hey, if you give homeless people some money, if you give them a roof over their head, it turns out the results are swell. The results are fantastic. You reduce the homeless population, and you give people some financial security, and they use that as a springboard for the rest of their lives. I mean, listen, with some people who are homeless, there are deeper issues at play, whether it's addiction issues, whether it's mental health issues, and those people need specialized help. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But by and large, when you give these people money, the studies are clear. Now we know 39% cut in spending to tobacco, drugs, alcohol, and things of that nature. And a lot of this money goes towards regular schmegular bills that anybody else would be dealing with. So I think that's what's so frustrating about following politics as closely as I do, is that oftentimes the answers really are incredibly simple, but we don't do them. And we also have a backlash when you do the right thing. A lot of people be like, I don't want that to happen, even though it's going to save me money in the long run. I don't like it. And so round and round we go with all these curable societal ills. They're curable. They're fixable. Or we can at the very least improve them drastically. And we don't do it. And part of the reason why in the U.S. is that, there is no lobby for the homeless that's as powerful as, say, Wall Street or the military-industrial complex or Amazon or any of the special interest groups. And that's why politicians are representing those interests and not the interests of homeless folks. So that's it. There's the result of the study. Giving homeless people $7,500 has some positive effects.
If you want to know why you're so...
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. Groundbreaking. This is some groundbreaking stuff here, folks. This is some groundbreaking stuff. It turns out, when you actually just decide to solve the problem, it becomes cheaper to just do that. I mean, bravo, you you figured it out. If I give people money to give to the landlord, we can just give them a home instead. I mean, that's another solution. That's another solution. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I mean, I guess like the underlying point still stands in the sense that like you can just solve these problems, right? It's not like out of the realm of possibilities. Ever waste your prime sub on a pretty face? What does that mean? Never got to find out why I'm so tired so often? Never got to find out why I'm so tired so often, people said. Yeah, well, you and me both, right? Well, in America, red states are cutting federal aid. Yeah, I heard KTS. Specifically, I think they were also. Oh, you mean the the ad? That's, oh man. Yes, for Medicare, I believe. Some of these red states are owning the libs by cutting Medicare or Medicaid, one of these programs. Not that I'm against giving them money. Yeah, me neither. I'm just saying, like, the underlying, like, oh, yes, that's also true. That's also true. They're cutting the federal unemployment aid as well. Yeah, the underlying, like, I guess, point of the entire study, or multiple studies, pilot programs, that have been deployed not just here, but in Europe, have shown consistently that when you just solve the problem, it ends up being cheaper and you have great success. And here's yet another study to prove it, right? Although in Finland, it was a little bit different. In Finland, they just gave them an apartment. They just gave them an apartment, no strings attached. And in that apartment complex, they provided them resources, job recruiting, and all that other stuff. And well, Finland already has universal healthcare, so yeah, they got basically everything just given to them: food, housing, education, or I guess in this case, job resources or tools to get jobs, and healthcare. And it turns out it was wildly successful. And here it's kind of the similar, it's kind of a similar theory, right? If you give the people the tools, and the means of obtaining these things, you have an overwhelming success. I don't do Amazon Prime. Facts. A lot of homeless people these days have jobs that just can't afford the rent. Yes, that's also true. Yes, they live in their car. There's I think even we went over some of these stories where there's just like a myriad of people who go to work but live in their car. I mean, make it make sense. Yes, that's true. I was unemployed for a time and I couldn't get hired because of that issue on my credit. But when I got that federal aid, I was able to pay off that debt and fix my credit. Now some companies are interested again. Republicans cutting the state is truly fucking people over. All most people need is a little help. Well, like, yeah, just decent humanity would go a long way. First off. And second of all, why the heck is a job? I mean, unless it's like some seriously like strict financial sector, why does it even matter what type of like what's on your credit? I mean, unless it's like some serious like you are responsible for like a lot of money or something like that. I mean, why does that even matter? I work in okay, banking and securities. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. But how does that interfere with your job, right? How does that? What if that debt, all it is just like credit card debt? What does that even have to do with the job that you're doing? What if it's student loans? What does that have to do with the job that you're doing? It seems kind of like, I don't think that it doesn't seem very fair. One time, Chaseway took a job offer because I wasn't able to show them Amazon sales I made while unemployed. Wait, what? Yikes. It had nothing to do with my job. Yeah, seems like a cheap cop-out. Seems like a cheap cop-out to me. 35 House Republicans vote with Democrats to pass bill establishing a January 6th commission. The House of Representatives voted 252 to 175 on Wednesday to pass a bill to set up a bipartisan. Why do they continue to like bring this? Is this supposed to like invoke some type of like emotional like I don't know 9/11 style commission to investigate the deadly January 6th insurrection? Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and GOP leadership opposed the commission, but 35 House Republicans voted in support, underscoring the fault lines within the party in the aftermath of the insurrection. And I think that this is relevant here.
Is recognized for 30 seconds.
I want to thank the gentleman from New York and the other Republicans who are supporting this and thank them for their bipartisanship. To the other 90% of our friends on the other side of the aisle, holy cow. Incoherence. No idea what you're talking about. Benghazi, you guys chased the former Secretary of State all over the country, spent millions of dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country? Cops. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. I yield back the balance of my time.
Okay. True. In the sense that like we've got a huge disconnect between one party who's like going down a very quick and very deep Q rabbit hole, right? So it is true. Oops, hey, stop it. It is true, but I don't know like why he what the deal is with the rest of them. I mean, I will say this: you do need parties, both parties living in reality if you want to take on climate change, okay? And it seems to me like neither of you are on that baseline when it comes to climate change. I mean, the Democratic Party acknowledges it and pretends that they understand. The Democratic Party acknowledges and pretends to understand climate change, but I don't know if they necessarily want to do anything about it. So, hey, Surfer Girl, how's it going? Morning. Do they need 60% in the Senate to pass this? I don't know. Everybody go to twitch.tv/SurferGirlPhilly and check them out. Make sure you follow, support, do all that awesome stuff. The House passed a bill Wednesday to create a bipartisan commission to investigate the insurrection in a 252 to 175 vote, with 35 Republicans voting in favor. Republican leadership in the House and Senate have publicly opposed the bill. The commission will be made up of 5 Republicans and 5 Democrats and will have the ability to issue subpoenas for relevant information concerning the insurrection. Now, I don't think that this is I don't think this is within the purview of the Senate, though, is it? I think that this is just a House committee. I think this is just a House committee. Because I don't know if that you know what, we can figure this out. Does The Senate need to approve the January 6th, commission? No, wait a minute. Yeah, they do. They do need to vote on this. They need 10 Republicans, and there's only like 7 of them. So that's probably not going to happen. Morning, class time. How's it going? Yeah, they'll need 60% in the Senate. Yeah, that's to avoid the filibuster, which, nice meme. Well, that's not gonna happen. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. The amount of Republican support makes it far more difficult for Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to try and dismiss the commission outright as a partisan effort. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has promised the bill will get a vote, but it's still unclear how many Republicans will get on board. Well, at least like we'll get them on record, but it doesn't matter. I don't think this is going anywhere. McConnell told fellow Republicans on Tuesday he could not support the agreement in its current form. 2 sources familiar with his remarks told Axios. Alina Treen and formally announced his opposition from the Senate floor on Wednesday. I mean, like, what is the opposition here? I mean, you both will have subpoena power. There's going to be a equal 5 Democratic and Republican members on this committee. Both of you will be able to subpoena for relevant evidence. Where's the problem here? Aren't you? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wasn't this the same, like, people crying about bipartisanship? Weren't these the same people saying that how it's impossible to work with these people because they don't want bipartisanship? And here, like, you're offered an extension, an equal extension, which is weird because it's not really whatever. You're being offered a 5 and 5 equal number, both having the ability to have subpoena power. How is this a partisan effort? Yahoo News is republishing stuff from Axios. Yeah, I thought that they like usually republish a lot of stuff from different sources, yeah. 10 GOP senators are needed for the proposal to pass. Which, in other words, 10 GOP senators are needed to avoid the filibuster so that it doesn't, so that it just passes outright. The creation of the commission has been delayed for months because Republicans have insisted its scope should be expanded to include violence by far-left protesters that last summer after the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Okay, but like these are completely in different universes. What? Okay. McCarthy argued that it would be duplicative and potentially counterproductive because Congress and the federal government are carrying out other investigations into the riot. It's not about... Okay, so if I understand, the purpose of this commission would just be to compile, document, and essentially create the story from beginning to end as to what exactly happened in January 6th, what went wrong, and kind of have that as a document. It's not really to, I think, to carry out anything else other than to have this like on record, if I'm correct. Many Republicans are concerned that the bill will be weaponized to subpoena members and could alienate members of the GOP base. What does that mean? As well as former President Trump, who was impeached for the House by inciting the riot. House of Homeland Security Committee Chairman Representative Benny Thompson announced last week that negotiators had reached an agreement with Representative John Katko on the commission. What is a lefty? Like, I can write with both hands, actually. A fun fact about me, I can actually write with both hands pretty easily. Ambidextrous. I'm right-handed, but I can play pool with my left and kind of throw a baseball. Yeah, I can write with my right hand and my left hand. And I can do it simultaneously too. Not write different stuff I'm not write independent stuff with different hands, but I can write the same, like I can copy paste like that. I'm omnidirectional. Do you drum or play music? Yes. I don't drum, but I do play music. Although some would consider me playing a basic beat on the drumming. So I guess so. It said that the 10-person bipartisan commission will be charged with studying the facts and circumstances of January 6th attack on the Capitol, as well as influencing factors that may have provoked the attack on our democracy, and would have the authority. Right, that's exactly what I'm saying. Right, I think that the whole point of this was to just kind of compile the entire story, right? So I'm not sure what the I'm not sure what exactly is the objection, unless A, you really don't want the public to find out exactly what happened, if officially, right? Like officially compile like the all the video evidence and all the witnesses and testimonies and all that. Or could it be possible that maybe information you don't want out there, that maybe you may or may not allegedly have known stuff that you should have reported or participated? Who knows? Yeah, it's unfair. If you investigate, then you might find out some of us were involved, and then you'll use it against us politically. Based on legislation passed by the House, the Commission would be required to issue a final report with findings and recommendations to prevent future attacks on our democratic institutions by December 31st of 2021. Jesus, that's like a... Okay. So, yeah, it's just a compilation of of what happened. That's it. That's literally it. They're trying to piece together officially what happened January 6th, like based on video, audio, witness testimonies, documents. I'm imagining a plethora of social media compilations, and just kind of issue just a report where all of that is compiled together, and any recommendations to prevent any future nonsense like this, any future insurrections. So I think that there's no necessarily any power to do anything. It seems to me like this is just a compilation of what happened. Former President Trump, who was impeached by the House for inciting the riot, criticized the commission in a statement and urged House and Senate Republicans to not support what he called a Democrat trap. Wait, a Democrat trap? Wait, what does that mean? Seems like a waste of time. We already know it was Antifa. True. We saw him. We saw him with our own two eyes. Wearing the MAGA hats. Waving around the Q flags. Waving around the Trump 2020. We saw them. We saw them. Wearing their Civil War January 6 t-shirts. that totally weren't pre-made. House Whip Steny Hoyer told reporters that the House would pursue a select committee of some kind even if the commission does not pass the Senate. Okay. I have a question. Okay. The Antifa plants were in the deep covers. Yeah. Yeah, it was the largest operation to date. It was the largest operation till date. I decided to take a little gander. This an entire manifesto. An entire manifesto. Because he is being criminally investigated. Yes, this guy is completely gone. Anyways, I was like taking a gander to see if he had responded to the to the vote to start this commission. The 35 Republicans who voted in favor are all these folks. This is like a 90s cop movie where the cop tells the mass murderer, put the gun down, let me help you, I can give you a good deal. And Republicans know it's bullshit because they're screwed either way. True. Wait, hold on. I would love to see the poster for that movie. Website, I think. Is it website? I think it's this one, right? I don't even know anymore. Save America. No, not a single statement. Jesus. This is all on yesterday. This is all yesterday. This This is all yesterday. From Breitbart News. Okay. Cool. What? Okay. Save America. I wonder why they continue to use that type of branding, because, like, wasn't he the president? Didn't he already do the thing? Didn't he already make America great? I thought he did. I thought he did the thing. No thanks. Only half of rural voters know that Democrats voted to send them stimulus check. New polls find. Americans have so far received 3 direct payments from the federal government in response to the coronavirus. The first 2 were distributed under President Trump's watch, but while not a single Republican voted in favor of the third round, only half of the rural voters in a new poll gave Democrats any credit. A poll conducted by the Rural Objective PAC, a super PAC that works to build support for Democrats in rural areas, found that 50% of voters in rural areas associated providing COVID stimulus checks to American families with the Democratic Party, while 32% associated payments with Republicans and 11% associated with them with neither party, and 7% Wait, how? With neither party? Somebody voted for this. Somebody had to vote for this. How could you associate? Like, I would understand if they weren't sure, but how did you reach this conclusion? How did you reach neither? Somebody voted for and somebody voted against these things. We're not connecting with these voters, and even if we have great policy, J.D. Scholten, the executive director of the Rural Objective PAC, told Greg Sargent and Paul Waldman of the Washington Post, which previously reported on the poll's findings. The poll surveyed 2,149 voters in 9 battleground states: Arizona, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. I see Florida has lost its battleground status. As we've mentioned before. And while 68% of those voters supported the stimulus checks, it's clear Democrats weren't getting the credit for a cornerstone of President Joe Biden's America Rescue Plan. But it's also to be noted that they would be willing to give Trump credit for the original stimulus checks that they got. Most rural voters did associate Democrats with extended unemployment benefits and state aid, though. Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus plan passed using a mechanism known as budget reconciliation without a single Republican vote. The first 2 payments occurred under Trump, who signed the payments topping out at $1,400 and $600 into law. Wait. Was it 14? I thought it was $1,200. The Biden one was $1,400, right? During the pandemic, but even then, Democrats controlled the House under Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Some Democratic lawmakers are also calling to make stimulus checks permanent, something that has received broad support from both Republican and Democratic voters by some estimates, and would cut the number of Americans in poverty in 2021 to 16 million from 44 million. "21 Democratic senators urged Biden in a letter to include reoccurring direct payments in his $4 trillion infrastructure plan, and said a single direct payment will not last long for most families, and we're worried about the cliff facing unemployed workers when unemployment insurance extensions expire on September 6th. But voters not knowing whom to credit for certain policies is nothing new. When President Barack Obama was attempting to expand healthcare access over a decade ago, Many voters did not want the government to interfere with their Medicare and Medicaid. Many voters did not want the government to interfere with their Medicare when Medicare was already a government-run program. Jesus. Dems ignored rural voters, so rural voters ignore Dems. Yeah, to a degree, that's true. I thought Biden would want a broadband in rural areas. Yes, I think that's part of the infrastructure. I think that's part of the infrastructure expansion. I got a letter the other day from a woman. She said, I don't want government-run healthcare. I don't want socialized medicine. I don't want socialized medicine, and don't touch my and don't touch my Medicare. So, I mean, it is a part that, you know, the Democratic Party does ignore rural voters, but it's also a part of, like, they just don't know. They just don't know. You know, and quite frankly, most of them don't really necessarily care as much to get involved as to who is doing what legislation is going through the pipelines, and it feels like it kind of reinforces the idea that I have in my head that, you know, the system currently is incredibly anti-democratic in the sense that, like, people don't participate. People don't know. People don't know who passed what legislation is coming down the line. Who is proposing what? What's the name of your city council? Who's your federal representative? President Obama said at an AARP hosted town hall in on healthcare in 2009. I want to say, you know what? That's what Medicare is, a government-run healthcare plan that people are very happy with. True. Washington Post separately reported in 2009 that a rural voter told Representative Robert Inglis of South Carolina to keep your government hands off my Medicare. Keep your government hands off my Medicare. Okay. To be fair, Sawan, this is a pretty easy name to remember. She's my council member. Generally speaking. Okay. Hey Jesse, how's it going? Cholton, the Rural Objective PAC, told the Post that if there's one thing Democrats could use to win support of rural America, it would be direct payments. So yeah, sure, but they need to know who is doing what. Most of us don't know because we've been shit on for Dems for a really long time. They purposely avoid us Republicans, want us ignorant. And it's also really hard to stay tuned in when you're working 2 to 3 dead-end jobs just to pay your bills. True. True. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with that. So, what you're describing, the situations that you're describing, breeds apathy and disillusioned with the two-party duopoly, effectively, right? It breeds disillusion because, well, who do you find a home with? This is one of the biggest investments we've seen in rural America since the New Deal. Cholton told Sargent and Waldman, it's a good policy, it should be good politics too, but right now Democrats aren't taking advantage of it. Yeah, because they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. Or maybe they do and they're refusing to do what's right. I don't know. It effectively doesn't matter. It effectively doesn't matter. If the Democratic Party wants to take some W's, it would behoove them to listen to the people and propose policies that would help, right? That would help everybody. And I think it's also important to reach out to these rural areas and show them what you are doing for them, right? So the things that they have done that are right, the things that they did, for example, these, like, just to use the direct payments as an example, they need to make a media campaign or awareness campaign to show them, hey, this is what we did. Here's what's happening. Reach out to them. Tell them what you're doing. Otherwise, I mean, the extension of like childcare benefits. Show them that this is what you're doing. Show them how investing in a sustainable electric grid benefits them. But people don't know. I think this is kind of like the crux of it, right? People don't understand. Most of them are disillusioned. They don't care. They're too busy trying to just, I don't know, eat. And it breeds apathy and disillusionment. I think I got this in the Discord. Let's check this out. Wait, hold on. Wait. Federal paid leave program would be a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Calls to implement such a plan are based on incorrect assumptions and passive media. What does that mean? If you're a politician peddling big new government programs for which there is little need but hefty price tags. I'm catching a bit of a skew here. I'm catching a bit of a skew here in the rhetoric. At least your sales pitch could use a decent soundbite. Such marketing is what the Biden administration, with its friends in Congress and the media, are doing when insisting that a drop in women's labor force participation during the pandemic requires implementing a policy of federal paid family leave. Oh no. God forbid. Don't buy it. First, temporary problems should never be addressed with permanent government expansion. What? What? Okay. Women have dramatically fallen out of the labor force and unemployment rates have skyrocketed because of once in a century pandemic followed by state and local governments locking down the economy. The reality, fortunately, is that the virus will soon be in the rearview mirror and the economy is now quickly reopening. Once labor unions agree to let K-12 public schools reopen 5 days a week in the fall, all should be back to normal. As such, there's no reason to use temporary hardship to saddle taxpayers with a permanently bad deal. Yeah, hey folks, making paid family leave making family leave is a permanently bad deal. I understand why this advice is rarely followed. After all, never letting a crisis go to waste is a good strategy for those in power to exploit the distress of the American people to create programs that can't be pushed through during normal times. Wait, but you could also say never letting a crisis go to waste. Could also be turned around to say, yeah, let's use this crisis as an opportunity to provide benefits and to improve society so that this doesn't happen. Wait. Second, the call to implement new programs to address the fact that women are still hurting from the pandemic is based on incorrect assumptions and a passive media. The Heritage Foundation. Oh man, this gets bad. This is just continuing to get better. Scholar Rachel Gresley looks at data and finds that while the pandemic and the accompanied lockdowns caused more women than men to lose their jobs and drop out of the labor force initially, this is no longer the case. For instance, Gresley writes, initially women's employment fell by 17.9% and men's employment fell by 14.3% from February 20 to April 2020. In March 2021, women's employment was down 4.9% and men's employment was down 5.0% from what they have been in February 2020, but now women's employment losses are 500,000 fewer than men's. Can anybody tell me what's wrong with this? Can anybody tell me the problem with this? Can anybody tell me the issue with citing these facts? I'm actually not sure. I'm here to learn. This has absolutely nothing to do with implementing paid family leave. What the fuck does this have to do with paid family leave? The Heritage Foundation is full of radical socialist, communist, or some awful form of both. True. Yeah, this has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not implementing paid family leave is good or bad. She also finds that between February and April of 2020, the number of men participating in the labor force fell by 4.3%. Well, yeah, awesome, cool. Great, awesome, cool. Yeah, no, they are, Genesia, they are, Cheeto Ray over here is memeing. But, apparently no fact-checking is necessary anymore because burdening the taxpayers with billions is new spending. Apparently no fact-checking is necessary anymore before burdening taxpayers with billions in new spending. Yeah, Genesis Lazy Duck. Ah. There we go. Sorry about that. Just want to make sure I got the username correct. I should be used to such opportunistic policy making since the favorite pre-pandemic talking point by those who wanted to implement a federal paid leave program was that the United States doesn't offer paid leave for workers. Yes, this claim is bunk. While the United States government doesn't have a federal paid leave program, this government surveys show that some 65% of American workers nevertheless have access to some form of paid leave. Wait. Wait, whoa, wait. Yet, okay, so the favorite pre-pandemic talking point was that the United States doesn't offer paid leave for workers. That is true. The United States, the federal government, does not provide a law or regulation or benefit for paid leave. This is true. While the U.S. government doesn't have and then they admit it right here in the next sentence. While the United States government doesn't have a federal leave program, the government survey shows that 65% of American workers nonetheless have access to some form of paid leave. Okay, access. That's yeah. And second of all, How much? How much? How much does the average paid leave give if they're not necessarily ordered or mandated to give paid federal leave or paid leave? So, on the federal level, morning. On the federal level, they are eligible to provide unpaid family leave, which is called FMLA. The U.S. itself does not have national standards on paid family or sick leave. Also, it is to be noted that there are paid leave benefits to a lot of these companies. However, these are for full-time employees. And if you take a look at the actual actual benefits provided, 78% of civilian workers have access to paid sick leaves, an average of 8 annual paid sick leave days. 8 days, folks. That's what, a little bit over a week. And if you're really lucky, you get 10 paid sick days. We're not even talking about maternity or paid parental leave. We're just talking about sick days. If your employer's really generous, you might get 10 paid sick days. You might get 10 paid sick days. Paid vacation days, which are not sick days, are on average about 11 paid vacation days. So if you're lucky, on average, congratulations, you get a a little over a week, well, a week and a half off. And you have to work there for a certain period of time. And you have to be full-time. And you have to be an actual employee of the company, not some outsourced workforce, right? Were you ever self-employed? Self-employed work is 365 days a year. True. So yeah, I mean, the idea that we have some magical, like, oh, we don't need paid family leave or anything like that. We look at all these cool benefits, and like the majority of workers have them. Yeah, what kind of benefits? How much? 8 days? 10 days if you're lucky? A week? A week of paid time off? I should be used to such opportunistic policymaking since the favorite pandemic, blah, 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 blah. Oh yeah, doesn't offer paid leave, yet this is bunk. While the US doesn't have a federal paid leave program, government survey shows that 65% of American workers nevertheless have access to some form of paid leave. Yeah, some form, like 8 days. In fact, the absence of a federal program means we are also a country with a vast and expanding network of companies that provide benefits like paid leave programs that are flexible, accommodating, and more generous than the plans some liberals and conservatives have in mind. Press X to doubt? How do you know that? Where did this statement come from? The irony is that this pandemic has forced employers and employees to try new workplace arrangements and use technologies in ways that could lead to a major shakeup in the flexibility afforded to parents who must both work and take care of children. Yeah, paid family leave. Implementing one-size-fits-all government policy now could stop this transformation, as employers might feel better able to require employees to work on site. Wait. That's not an excuse. Wait, just because you work at home doesn't mean, like, they have a right to, like... What? Oh yes, they just work at home, you know, it's fine. We can figure out how to... What? Even if some people would have better benefits than a federal program would give, they wouldn't lose that just because the federal requirements are below their threshold. True, that's also a good point. He's an artist, so he makes a few sculptures a year and is able to live well off that. Nice. Nice. I've seen some, like, glass artists do that, too. In fact, rather than return to pre-COVID unlimited work arrangements, and the administration of state governments should promote more flexibility in the workplace by removing the regulatory barriers. Nice meme. And that make raising a family harder. Two such changes would be to eliminate occupational licensing for childcare workers and to let employees be paid in the form of additional leave time for their overtime work. Wait. No. What? Wait. Yeah, benefits could increase if companies didn't need to pay for current benefits. True. Wait. Wait, so your solution is to have the companies have a cop-out so that they don't have to pay overtime payments and instead just offer more time off? Wait, what? Correct. There are many non-governmental ideas for helping workers and even more to be discovered. Let's pursue them rather than ram through a federal paid leave program, which every single other developed country has, to a greater success than us. That's right. I've been. Hey, folks. I've worked 5 hours of overtime, and I mean they offered me, they offered me an apple. I mean it's totally equivalent to being paid. It's totally equivalent to being paid the overtime, and maybe in the future. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Genesis Lazy Duck. Half an hoggers. Yeah, I mean, I know I did like, 5 hours of overtime, but like they gave me half an apple. I should be grateful. Oh yeah, the pizza party. There you go. Hey, listen, I know it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week at the office, but you're cool with the. I know we had to let go of. I know we had to let go and understaff your department, but we get a pizza party, a pizza party, you know? There you go. It's the equivalent. Wow, solidarity does exist with the bosses. Now ask half for half their salary. Oh no, this is a nice meme. Yeah, I mean, this is clearly written with like the libertarian brainworms, right? This is some seriously heavily skewed, and it's all built to give you an emotional response without actually saying, like, this just says nothing. Think about the entire article that we just read, and we got pretty much nothing from this entire article, other than yeah, some of the other than some people are returning back to work, which is expected, but somehow this is supposed to be an argument as to why we shouldn't have paid family leave. I mean, this is an entire, like, whoever this person is, to take the time to write down these words, Veronique de Rugi, whatever, however you pronounce that, sorry. Imagine just being, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a temporary, hey guys, we're only temporarily needing, you know, as if there was like a stop on making families, right? Because the argument was how to be against paid family leave, right? As if like, what, did we just stop having families? Is that just not a thing anymore? In terms of like human biology, we just don't do that anymore. Like, wait, what? And second of all, there has been plenty. There's been plenty of developed countries who have paid family leave, far better benefits than we do. As a baseline. Yeah, the federal program would just be the bare minimum. Yeah, so I think that I think that the solution to these raising gas prices and all this other stuff is clearly to move away from fossil fuels. How? Well, we've got renewable energies and move to a situation where we use less and less gas and have a green public transportation and an ability to reach out to those rural areas without the necessity for gas. I mean, you just said it right there. There's no public transportation. Seems to me like like that would be a fair opportunity to increase public transportation. Why do you think American Republicans are up in arms? I have no idea what that means. Yeah, clean public transportation for all. There you go. It will limit the amount that you need and connect the rural areas with the city. I mean,